Howdy gang, video 11 in my ongoing series of telling you things you may not want to know. We got the interesting question of how do you define evolution, especially when you're talking with creationists? And one approach that I've encountered online is one that I think, although accurate, is also not terribly helpful. And that is evolution is a change in allele frequency over time. And you can observe it, and that's the end of it, slam dunk. The problem is an awful lot of anti-evolutionists can go, oh, we accept allele changes over time. The question is how much and how much time. So if you're a young Earth creationist, you're not really talking about the same thing of time. And if you're an intelligent design person, you're thinking that this does not explain the origin of genetic information to begin with, and pretty much you're off onto an origins or bust argument, and you're miles away from where you need to be. The definition of evolution I prefer to use is 4 simple words, so it's even shorter than the change in allele frequency over time thing, which is 6. And that is natural branching common descent. There. Boop. Simple as that. That puts you right on the turf of talking about speciation events, how that fits through the fossil record. It forces you to think about the fossil record because that's where you're seeing common descent. If you're looking at common descent between us and fungi, you're looking back a billion years or more. And so you're automatically forcing the argument onto that temporal frame and thinking about how microevolutionary changes in allele frequencies over time, if you're a gene centrist, pile up over an enormous period to see in some branching lineages big changes, but not necessarily big changes every single time. So I think it is a more practical way, especially when dealing with evolution novices, which anti-evolutionists tend to be. They don't really know a heck of a lot on that, and they don't realize how little they know on the subject. And it also clarifies our own thinking because it forces our side to really realize what the important issues are and what's the best way of dealing with it. So it's not that change in allele frequencies from some genome paper on the FOXP2 gene is necessarily a bad idea to bring up, but you want to bring it in with a context that has already laid a groundwork so you can be undermining your opponent's position long before you get around to talking about AT, Cs, and Gs in a genome. So that's a little talk about how definitions and how we frame things can matter too in discussing this subject and in clarifying our own thinking. Thank you for listening.